Central and it houses about 500 public servants. That's built on the site of the Grand Chancellor Hotel. The hotel was over 20 stories high, and after the earthquakes it was leaning dangerously to the right. It was threatening to collapse onto that yellow front.
就是这个复古电
To
车。
prevent the collapse, the building, the basement was filled with concrete. It stabilized the building rather than be safe to demolish. At the end, of course, they had to break up all of the concrete that had been poured into the basement. It was a long and expensive demolition. Many of our new buildings now have base isolators for typically piles and the steel work. Base isolators are big pads of rubber and lead. They act like shock absorbers and protect the buildings against earthquakes. Some as tall as the trees. It reminds us of the importance of grain growing in the Canterbury economy. Canterbury farmers hold the world record for the production of wheat per hectare and barley per hectare. On the left, the tall conical object you see, that's the chalice.
对，就在这里啊。
Chalice also celebrated the 150th anniversary of the founding of Canterbury in December 1850. Looking at the south wall of the cathedral, you can see how badly damaged the building is. Around those windows covered in plywood, the stones have been fractured and the columns have moved considerably. That wall is very weak and unstable. The north wall is broken. It took less than 2 days to paint that. We won't see it for much longer though. It's been announced that a hotel is going to be built on that site very soon. Over to the right, Turanga, our new public library. When work began on that building, we were told it would cost us about $65 million. Well, it's finished. People love the building. It's a great asset. Just to pity, the building is over $90 million. The rebuild of Christchurch is costing around $100 million a week. And the all-up total is expected to be about $40 million. Over to the right, the convention scale, although a scaled-down version of their original ideas, is costing about $500 million. This is stop number 2, Cathedral Square. When we leave here in a moment, we'll go straight down Worcester Boulevard, near the Art Gallery. Straight down there.
那你看看我前面，放这边。
没关系，我抱着会冷。
我这个会冷吗？
Hello there, welcome. There you go. Very well, thank you, sir. Come on board.
我习惯把它扣这样子，只要扣完自己忘记找不到。
他只要沿途你出示他的 ticket， 他就会让你上车。Very well, come on boy。以刚刚那个先生，他有一个小孩，对他来讲都是一个 boy。Come on boy。不是，来吧，孩子，
Heading
孩子
towards the Avon River. Christchurch was an English settlement, but our river has a Scottish name. Coming up on our right, a brick building propped up by steel girders and concrete blocks. That was the City Council offices from the 1880s to the 1920s. Early brick and stone buildings used lime mortar in their construction. Lime mortar crumbles after a few years and loses its strength. That's why this building suffered so much damage. After 1900, cement mortar came into use, and that holds its strength much better. This building will be restored, but no date is yet set, and work will begin. This is stop number 9, Worcester Bridge. The first bridge over the Avon River was right here in Worcester Street. It was a small wooden footbridge swept away in a flood in the 1870s and replaced by a larger cart bridge. That in turn was replaced by the present bridge in 1885 in Limbo. Now, you saw the brick building behind us that suffered badly in the earthquakes. By contrast, look to the right at number 69, a Georgian-style brick building from the 1920s. Cement mortar was used when that was built, and as you can see, it came through the earthquakes safely. To our left, up the wrapped area, we have the City Council's present offices, and over to the right, Tupuna Owefetu, the Christchurch Art Gallery. The gallery is open until 5 o'clock, admission is free. So if you'd like to see some of the paintings and sculpture on display, right here is Translock number 10 for the art gallery.
有人要下车啊！
We now cross Montreal Street. Looking left along Montreal, you'll see some hills of Banks Peninsula. Banks Peninsula was formed by volcanoes several million years ago. For many years, it was thought that 2 volcanoes created the peninsula. Recent research at the University of Canterbury tells us that we're in fact 16 volcanoes. Here on the left, the entire city block is the arts centre of Christchurch. For over 100 years, this was the campus of the University of Canterbury. By 1974, the university had moved to Ireland in the northwest, where there was more room for expansion. But despite strengthening work done to these buildings, they all suffered some damage in the earthquakes. The good news is they are all being restored. Over half of them are now back in use. The restoration program is running a year ahead of schedule. Translock is 11 for the Art Centre. Hello there, welcome back. In the building on our left, a great range of shops, including Fudge Cottage, makers of wonderful fudge, which they invite you to sample before you buy. That building on the left was Christchurch Boys High School from 1881 until 1925. Then the school moved across town to Riccarton. The original Girls High School building is also part of the Arts Centre site. Girls High were here from 1879, but it was a short stay. They were only here for about 3 years. Such was the growth in numbers enrolling at Girls High, they had to move to a much larger building erected for them round in Cranmer Square. Behind the safety fence on our left, the restoration of the Art Centre continues. Notice the great steel frames and concrete blocks holding the stone facades in place. That's so that the stonemasons and the engineers can work safely behind them. Straight ahead of us we have the Canterbury Museum, a wonderful museum of natural history and Antarctic exploration. Admission is free. To the left of the museum, the Botanic Gardens. You don't have to walk all around the gardens to enjoy the view. They do a conducted tour using their battery electric vehicle, the Caterpillar. Hunting on Avon operates from the boat sheds 2 blocks to our left along Ralston Avenue. And in the clock tower building, Rutherford's Den, a great display of the work of Ernest Rutherford, graduate of the university and first man to split the atom.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a different one, isn't it?
叮叮。
Now, past the museum, we come to the buildings of Christ's College, an independent school for boys founded in 1850 by the Anglican Church. The building on the left with lights on is the college dining hall, opened to 1935. As we go over the intersection, look through the gates on the left and you'll see some of their heritage buildings around the quadrangle. The oldest building dates from 1863. About 600 boys attend this school. Just under a quarter of them are boarders on the right-hand side of the avenue. It's one of the boarding houses where they live.
That's where the boys live.
Now we leave the avenue and turn right to Market Street. On our left is Hackney, a great recreation area for Christchurch. It's the largest inner city park in New Zealand. Over there's a golf course, tennis courts, croquet lawns, bowling greens, two boating lakes, a running track, and about 80 playing fields for summer and winter sports. Hackney Park's named after Hackney Hall.
电动脚踏
In
车。
Birmingham that was owned by Lord Lyttelton, the chairman of the Canterbury Association in 1813.
所以你就看它的电车轨道啊，就知道它的行进路线。
If you walk along Park Terrace, be sure to look across the street at the row of street lamps. There are 21 different street lamps in a row. That's a work of art called Solidarity Grid. Those street lamps were donated by 21 cities around the world to stand in solidarity with the rebuild of Christchurch. Each street lamp is typical of the ones in the donor city. Some are very plain and simple, others are much more elaborate. There's a panel by the left-hand one telling you about the 21 cities they came from. On the left, privately owned townhouses line at the foot. It says that New Zealand's first game of rugby football was played here in August 1863. Don't you believe it? If you look at the Christchurch newspapers of August 1863, you'll find the game of football they're referring to was actually played on Latimer Square. They put a plaque in the wrong place. Tram stop 14, Cranmer Square, ensure that their chains had not stretched and had validated their measurements. These days, surveyors use lasers that were 11 battles of World War I and New Zealand and Australian soldiers took part in. The RSA's restaurant and bar on the ground floor are open to the public, so if you'd like to go there for a meal or a drink, you'll be made welcome. And if you show them your tram ticket, they'll give you a discount off your food and drink. Over to our right, the Provincial Council buildings. That's where our Provincial Parliament meets. Until 1867, the provincial governments were abolished. Across the Avon now, and on our left, across Victoria Square, you'll see the Christchurch Town. It's just coming back into use after a wonderful restoration program. There on the right, construction work for the convention centre. Two statues in Victoria Square by the River James Cook, the great English navigator who mapped our coastline so accurately in the late 1700s. And near the tram stop, Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria's statue
应该是维多利亚吧，不是维也纳，是维多利亚，因为他刚刚讲维多利亚。哦，维也纳就是奥地利。
没有，我后面没有注意看，我只看到维，我就给他讲维。
Well, the newspaper says
维多利亚
the statue was therefore lifted up and the cat was enticed out with a piece of smelly fish. Diagonally across the intersection, a multi-storey building on the corner is now the Crown Plaza Hotel. At the time of the earthquakes, that building was an office block. The stairwell in the office block collapsed in the 2011 earthquakes. People in the building that day were trapped there unless they abseiled out the windows on ropes, which a number did, or waited for a crane with a bucket to come along and rescue them.
啊，它晚上啊，
Unique in the country,
它只有晚
this
餐。
little street is a mirror image. Facades on one side exactly reflect those
如果
on
我
the
们要
other
炒的牛
in
排
shape
可以
and
隔
colour.
天中午吃。
哇哦，
Now, if you're buying goods from Go-Keeping Gifts ahead of us on the left, show them your travel ticket.
哇，这好有味道。
10% discount.
而且又有电车经过啊，哈。
Tram stop 17, New Regent Street.
居然这边还有一站。
This little street opened in 1932. It was then the same as any street in the city.
哎呀，你看它的建筑
Cars could
物，
travel along here in either direction.
北蓝光那边的是板子木板做的，看到了吗？
对，
它有一张那种卡片，它哪里？
居然这边停一
This
站
little。street became a pedestrian mall in 1994 when the tram line was all through.
好复古哦！最后一站是7站。
这一条等一下要来。
好，我们现在就坐车
Notice
这
the
样子啊。
tiles on
对
the
啊，
shop.
对啊。
一直搭车啊，
Over
人家
the
来
years,
站
a
地，
number
对
of
不
shop
对？
owners
就下
modernized
去，
再下来。
他下去之后再等下一
Typically,
班
that
的车
involved
上
tearing
车
off
这样
all
子
the。tiles. The owners decided to replace the missing tiles, and they've had some good copies
反正这
made.
一整天就在
The
这边闹。
originals have a creamy
你也
background.
可以
Copies
一直坐在这边坐到傍晚。
对。
You can just see the difference in young
哎，他在那个
skills.
时
The
钟呢，你
vertical
看，
panels on
你
either
就
side
会
of
一
young
直
are the
做。
里
original
奥纳多
tiles.
迪卡皮欧哎，
Copies.
里奥纳多迪卡皮欧哎。
他是长得很帅，可是那不是我的菜。
那是里奥纳多啊，演那个
Now into Cathedral Junction.
铁达尼号的男主角。
他是大号的，他是那个她老公，对不对？是不是？
If you'd like to walk to the transitional or cardboard cathedral at Madison Square, you can do so from this stop. Just leave the junction by the left-hand tunnel ahead of us. Turn left and walk straight
我
ahead.
第一次看到电车开进商场。
Diagonally across Madison Square, you'll see the traffic in the shape
Wow.
of the cardboard cathedral.
哎，
It's
好
about a
特别
5
的
minute
体验哦。
Tram stop number 1, Cathedral
哎，这是1号啊。
这是第一站吧
对，Number One。
？Number one 吗？他有说是不是？。
对，
那餐车在这边，餐车总站电车。那我们刚刚在哪一站？票是在哪里买的？哎，好像是在这边买的，不是？是。所以你要吃饭也是在这边买的。
哎，应该是对。我们先坐一圈呐。
哎呀，
哇哦，a lot of people。
这边第一站啊，所以是湾字形。
对，
1、2、
这是他们的总站。
Cathedral Junction is very well supplied with accommodation. Behind us is the Rendezvous Hotel. On either side of us here, the Quest. Straight in front of us in Worcester Street, the Heritage Hotel. Yes.
You guys, it's chaos.
你那个现在是无超过10岁的。
哎，应该是吧，都不用钱啊。
对啊，15岁以下的没有钱。对啊，很好。
Hello, you're the runners. Righto, we'll wait for them.
Thank you.
You've got good runners
一个
there.
大的最多可以带3个啊，
Hello there, welcome.
超过3个，第4个要每个5块钱。哎，知不？
客满了吗？
后面还有位置啊。
Lovely old buildings of Omru stone and brick, originally the government departmental offices, now the Heritage Hotel. Over to our right, you see the front of the Isaac Theatre Royal. The theatre was built in 1908.
我们刚刚在哪里
Modernized in
买票
the
的？
1920s and suffered a lot of damage in the earthquakes of 2011. It has now been totally rebuilt at a cost of $40 million. Citizens
我们要认一下我们刚刚在哪边上车。
That was made of
这边这一栋快到
It's being reinstated. Work has begun, but it's going to take at least 10 years.
大家往广场。
Over to our left, amidst the trees, the statue we see of John Robert Golding. He was one of the two
这
founders
已经
of
到
Canterbury.
要回来了哦。
There's no statue to the other founder, Edward Gibbon Wakefield.
那我们
Some years earlier, Wakefield had been found guilty
那我
of
们先这边
abducting
下
an
车。
heiress.
没有，我们先去吃饭，
那要去哪一站？
Chaps who abducted heiresses.
倒数第2站啊，就刚刚那边。
This is stop number 2, Cathedral Square. When we leave here, this tram goes around the central shopping area. In
意
Valentine,
思说我们就坐2次就对了。
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
他穿这样都是很复古哈、以前你看那个服装就是以前英国的那种绅士，英国的那种火车站。
Over to our left, outside the old brick building that was the chief post office, 4 Ships Court. There are 4 trees there commemorating the arrival
对
of
对
December 1850.
不要说每个车站，他也可以卖啊，
对，
车长也可以卖。
每个地方都可以卖。
The names, ages, and
只是
occupations
我
of
看
those
的那个
settlers
是
are
因为
engraved
他
on
们
marble plaques
他们
around the trees.
他们是在网络上 APP 先买的。
It's worth
所
taking
以
a
要
few
换
moments
票
to。have a look at them. Look especially for the name Cyrus Davy.
他们在现
You'll
金交
find
易
his
所
name on 2 of
查
the
资
ships.
料。
Cyrus had booked his passage out on the
这幕
Randolph.
这样好漂
His
亮。
luggage had been loaded on the Randolph, but Cyrus missed the sailing
涵
of
盖
the
它里面
Randolph.
的所有的钱。
等一下我们再绕到那个，再下来吃，吃完再来行动。
This tram is going round stops 3 through to 8. Return to the square, do stops 9 through to
不好意思，
17.
他们已经等很快的跌了，马龙湾
应该
人家。
直播嘞。
你今天马龙冇鸟嘞，没动了。
Around the city you'll notice a lot of empty spaces and a lot of new buildings. Between 70 and 80% of our central buildings have been or will be demolished because of earthquake damage. It's not that we've had 1 or 2 earthquakes. Since 2010, we've had more than 50 earthquakes of magnitude 5 or greater, and literally thousands up to magnitude 5.
它就冷。
Quake City displaying the astonishing
对，那种猎
detail
犬。
about the earthquakes.
猎犬。
Coming up on the right, the statue we see of Scott of the Antarctic. Robert Falcon Scott, the great English explorer, used Christchurch on his 2 trips to the south and had a family connection with the city as well. His cousin, Robert Julian Scott, was lecturing engineering at the university here. Over to the right, the Avon River. The Avon's about 26 kilometres long and crossed by nearly 40 bridges. We go over 2 of them on our tour. This is stop 3, Mill Island. The little island to our right had a flour mill operating on it from the late 1850s to the 1880s. The mill was an enormous building, 3 stories high. It stretched right across the river from bank to bank. The machinery was driven by a very large water, much bigger than the one on the island today. In fact, the island now is smaller than when the mill was there. When the present Hereford Street Bridge was built in the 1930s, the island was shortened by about a third to allow a wider bridge to be built. On the left, the terrace development. About 20 new bars, cafes and restaurants are housed there. Coming up on the right, the Bridge of Remembrance. It opened in November 1924 as a memorial to soldiers who died in World War I.
River Avon。
Straight from that bridge you'll find the newly dedicated earthquake memorial. A marble wall along the riverbank, engraved with the
我们
name
这一次第二圈就看得比较清楚了哈。
It's about a 5-minute walk along the riverbank to the earthquake memorial.
Bridge of
This is stop number 4. The earthquake memorial,
第四
bridge
站，对
remembrance
，number
and
four。
the terrace development.
每个都是很喜欢的。
Hello there, welcome. Thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
你只能说在平稳宽。
New buildings in the city are subject to a height limit, generally 28 metres. That's about 6 or 7 stories maximum. Because Christchurch is low-lying and rather swampy in places, the piles for some of the new buildings have been driven over 30 metres to get down to a shingle base.
Christian Church。Christian Church。
Over to our right, Plymouth Lane leads through to Litchfield Street. And in the new BNZ centre, coming up on the left, there are 2 laneways leading to Cashel Square, and from Cashel Square to Hereford Street. The new city that's being built features a number of laneways and sheltered squares. Coming up on our right, Valentine's, one of the great department stores of New Zealand. That began trading in 1854 as Dunstable House. The business was started by Elizabeth Clarkson with a modest range of ribbons, laces and straw hats. John Valentine bought the business about 20 years later, and it remains in family ownership to this day. Their annual sale began yesterday.
我这样可以拍得到我的车的倒影。
I would recommend a quick visit to Valentine's today.
好小房，好小哦。
对呀。
This is stop number 5 for Valentine's. City
小朋友看到电车很兴奋。
And the crossing retail development diagonally across the intersection. Train stop 5. For a supermarket while you're in the central city, down Market Lane to our right there's an excellent supermarket. And we've got Busker performing here. So if you want to watch her performance or do some retail therapy at H&M on the right, this is tram stop number 6.
Thank you.
不是，应该不是吧？
我们来的。
它上面不是票有剪吗？第几站它有显示这样子吗？
它是在一个角落这边。
对，一个角落哈。
We now cross into High Street.
这是第6吗？
Over to our left there are a number of large paintings on walls and an interesting art fence around the demolition site on the left. These are the result of a program funded by the Art Gallery when it was closed for earthquake repairs. The gallery wanted to remind people that art was being created even if the gallery was shut. Some of the paintings have now vanished as new buildings have gone up in front of them or as the walls have been demolished. And ahead of us on the top of Mount Cavendish, the upper terminal of the Gold Line. It's a wonderful view from come there anytime, and it's especially nice today looking across the Canterbury Plains to the snow-capped Southern Alps and down into Littleton Harbour on the other side. This is Stop 7. Although the tram lines go beyond this point, we're not permitted down there just yet. The reason is there are shipping containers ahead of us, propping up the brick facades of old buildings. Some of those containers come right along with the tram tracks. Until they are removed and the last bit of track put in place, we cannot go beyond this point. So I'm going to go out and change the poles over, and then I'll drive from the other end of the tram in a few minutes. You're welcome to get out here if you'd like to go exploring around this area. Very good food can be had at Little High, which is ahead of us and beyond that tall white building. And in the white building, C1, also good reputation for food. We'll be ready to go in 2 or 3 minutes, but there'll be another tram here in 15 minutes.
那车子要充电，没电，不啦，开玩笑，它已经没电了，要充电。OK， 到了。谁要先下车？先下。
Cheers.
我们最后下好了。
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. No, hold on to those. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, get off the
好。
要飞吗？
OK， 好，拜拜。
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See you. 他们这一班车是最后一班车了，所以他们已经结束他们的服务，到5点就结束了。178也是我们搭来的那一班车。
因为他这一班回来，他要接那个吃饭的。
哦。
对。
有可能要布置一下，里面他还要布置，他要离开了吗？对。
要开到别的地方。
好有味道。好，这边就是电车的1号站，也就是这边他们的总站可以购买很多的票券。这下面就是他们的铁轨，电车的铁轨。OK， 过瘾哦。我们今天就在基督城待了半天的时间，吃吃喝喝漫游。Beware of train。所以现在步行到那个巴士站嘛，哈。
这是那个教堂。
对。好，我们靠左吗？等一下，哎。好。
有车哦，有车。
哦，好。OK， 那复古 OGV Bar 咖啡，这家很有特色哈。
看一下吗？可以看一下。
咖啡。 menu breakfast 早餐 special。我跟你讲，它都是一些轻食，比如说它也是有那个 bird 汉堡，其实他们都有，对呀，都是一些轻食，它没有所谓的比较大的正餐。没关系，我们就回去了。
好，
回去吃我们自己料理的。
好，不然这边也是有欧洲料理的。
没关系，回去吃。
哦，它是弄成这样子一个。
对，那么多年了哈。
对呀、
现在都2019了。
我觉得他们。
2011。
我觉得他们会不会弄太久？
嗯。
拍它的片段而已啊，所以你
对
没有去看到它旁边，其实就是都还没弄好。
对，所以走这边。小心，等一下，行人还没有。
我们去那一间逛一下，再走。
好。
就直走在那个地方那边。
好。
但小女生很可爱。戴耳罩。
戴耳罩。会冷。啾！哇，有录到他那个声音呢。啾！
怎么办？哎，这个灯都会全部亮哎，你看。
有嘿，会晚上。backpack。
为什么打不开呢？
打烊了。
打烊了吗
？5点。
啊！
打烊了。
这么早？
backpack。小姐在结账。
不会吧？这么太早了耶！
铁门都拉下来。
早休息了吧？这一张机票比较便宜吗？
到5点，真的到5点打烊了。10点 AM 到5点 PM。
他们都好早哦。
啊，不是日不落国吗？
那你要炸，然后在里面用
真的是太早了。
对呀、
啊。
哎，那你叫做包二公司。哦。不解。
哎，这个电车是也有过来？
有啊。
都有吗？哈。
有啊。
那我们要不要过去？还是？
要不你现在没电车了，我们就直走。
直走了哈，我们要去那个巴士站啊。你要过，现在可以过对面了，绿灯。
其实那个。
到晚上。它巴士是可以到晚上比较晚的时间。
拜。